All right.
So, my name is Jacob Bennett. What is your name?
Mr. Dimich?
All right. Now, I am going to interview you about the Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky scandal
Uh-huh.
in the 1990s.
Right.
Are you okay with me asking you these questions?
Sure, absolutely. I've looked at them.
Okay. So we're going to begin.
Okay.
So, how did Bill Clinton's impeachment affect your life?
Well, didn't really impact me directly. I mean, I enjoy looking at at the time I was in college and studying journalism. So my first career was a newspaper reporter. So we certainly studied it from the context of as a news story. And at that time, because we didn't have Trump yet, at that time that was the first impeachment in since the 1800s, since Andrew Johnson after the president after Lincoln. So it was a very, and for a person who was also a political science person, who was a aspiring government person, it was very interesting from the perspective of the process and stuff like that. Just fascinating, because whole process for impeachment is very outlined in the Constitution.
Yes.
Sorry, the dorky answer.
That's awesome. All right. So the next question is, how did the media portray the incident?
Well, it depends on how you're looking at it. So, the media wasn't quite as into the factions that it is today. It wasn't quite that bad yet. Where we have the conservative media and the liberal media. The media we still could have outlets that played it more down the middle. So they portrayed both sides pretty well in terms of what was happening to Clinton, Monica Lewinsky, and then Clinton's and getting Clinton's side of the story. I remember that he was finally wrangled into finally having to give his admission to the media, which was different from when he had to admit in his deposition. The famous "I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky." That was like in a press conference that he did that.
That's all right. So you answered my next question about how the media was different.
Okay.
So moving on.
Okay.
What do you think is the truth?
I think that there was something that went on there. Hillary didn't divorce him because there's a political marriage. I mean, it would have been scandalous. It would have been worse for her and for him, for Clinton, for Bill and for Hillary to divorce while they were in the White House. I mean, she had aspirations for her political career, as we know now, running for president, and she was a senator, a secretary of state, and so on. So she had to reconcile it. I think there was some hanky panky, but I don't think it was as Miss Campbell would say, maybe Miss Campbell would understand, because this is her. I don't think it was full penetration. How about that?
Gotcha. What do you remember about the presidential election of 1996?
So that was pre-scandal. I mean, there was the Whitewater real estate thing. There were some other scandals that were coming up with other people. The real estate scandal. What I remember is that Clinton was an incumbent, which means that he was the running president. He was the president who was running at the time, and then he was running against the Senate Majority Leader. His name was Bob Dole, and it's a personal story. So we were very interested in politics. So we went to one of the rallies. Clinton was going on like a train whistle stop. So he went to Holly, and he was supposed to stop in Holly. So we went there, me and my friends, and we decorated my car, so it was the GOP mobile. Now I've seen the error of my ways. So we had like pictures of Nixon and George H.W. Bush and Reagan, and it was the GOP mobile. In order to get Dole Kemp signs, who was his vice president, we had to go show the Republican chairwoman, the local Republican chairwoman, our car, because that's how hard the signs were to get. I've since seen the error of my ways, but that's all I remember. That's what I remember. And I remember Clinton was going to win fairly easily, and he did.
Yes. So now onto some more questions about the 90s.
Okay.
What was the hairstyle of the 90s?
It would be like bigger wavy hair. I didn't like it because I didn't like the bigger wavy hair because I had bushier hair, but granted I had hair then. It was just it didn't grow like it didn't grow down, or it couldn't be nice and long like some of these other guys are now, where they can nice and brush it. It was just more bushy, and I didn't like it. So for basketball stuff, I just kind of shaved mine down into a buzz cut. But that was just me. But it was more like a wavy hairstyle, which Seinfeld. That's kind of the hairstyle of the '90s.
So just to be clear, you did indeed have hair.
I did indeed have hair. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I could even have a beard, but I didn't have one, but I could.
Gotcha. What was your occupation during the 90s?
Well, it depends on what it depends on what
Were you a student?
I graduated in 1986, high school, and then I became a college student, and then for a while I worked at a bar restaurant, and for a while I was working at the school newspaper, and for a couple years of that I worked at the school newspaper in Eastern Michigan. So that was what I was doing. I was mostly a student and a part-time employee of various jobs.
Awesome. So what kind of music was popular in the 90s?
Rap, other pop, but I was more of an 80s music fan. So yeah, so I still it was.
You used to have the Police up on your wall.
Oh, it's over there. The Police, the Beatles, Wham, REO Speedwagon, Prince. Prince was still popular in the 90s, and so was others, but it was mostly pop and rap and so on.
So
toward the later 90s, it was the period of Snoop. Snoop stayed relevant, but he was popular in the 90s. Paula Abdul and others.
So to piggyback on that, my favorite REO song personally is "Take It on the Run." What's your song? What's your favorite REO song?
I just use that one. REO I'm not a huge fan of, sorry. So Take It on the Run's pretty good. I don't know. Yeah.
So what is your favorite?
I don't have a favorite band really. I'm a dork. The older I get, there's a genre of music called yacht rock radio, which is very smooth listening. I don't have any particular band that I like, just that type of music. Sorry, I'm a complete dork.
Well, I think that's all I had for you.
That's all you got? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry I wasn't helpful on the 90s music, but yeah. So you have a little recollection of the time period. Do you have to supplement that at all with different research, or you just have to interview somebody?
I think I just have to interview you.
Really? That's it? Okay. That's pretty easy. Okay. Sorry I couldn't do this other days.
Yeah, it's awesome.
All right.
It worked out great.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
All right. Don't you have a bus